Ah, hello there. Take a seat by the fire. No, there's no need to exchange names. Trust me, you don't want to know mine. And I'd encourage you not to come any closer than that. It's a cold night, isn't it? Can't you feel that autumn air against your skin, winds blowing past your cheek? Can't you hear the leaves rustling on the ground? Can't you see the ghosts wandering just out of the corner of your eye? And you look, but they're no longer there? Perhaps a trick of the light. Perhaps not. I have a story to tell, don't we all? If you'll hear it, I'll gladly tell it to you. In this darkest of months, I feel it only fitting to tell you a dark story. A dark story in a place you may not expect to find it. Written by Tim Hedrick and directed by Joaquim dos Santos, the 8th episode of the 3rd season of Avatar: The Last Airbender is considered by most fans of the show to be one of its darkest episodes. It's a tale of power and cruelty, a tale of tragedy and fear, of trauma, and the monsters that people can become. So, enough with the pleasantries. In this, the most horrifying of months, I give to you the most horrifying episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I give to you the Puppet Master. The Puppet Master is about a young girl named Katara. She is, as far as she knows, the last remaining waterbender of the Southern Water Tribe, and she's quite the skilled waterbender at that, tasked with helping Aang, the Avatar meant to master all 4 elements, to master water. She's a kind soul, even if she can have a quick temper at times, always willing to lend a helping hand when she needs to, and she will always refuse to leave someone behind if there's something she can do. And like most characters in this series, she's been through a lot. She lost her mother when she was young, she's been betrayed and used by those who would take advantage of her trusting and giving nature. Poor girl has seen so many people get hurt while she could do nothing to help them. But what this little water tribe girl wants more than anything is to learn. As someone who is always trying to help those people around her, doesn't it only follow that she would forever be seeking the power to do that? To know enough to where there will never be a situation where she can't help someone who's hurting or in danger. Such an idealistic girl, isn't she? The episode begins in a situation not unlike the one between us right now, people telling stories over a campfire. And during this, Toph, the blind earthbender, who I'm sure you're aware of, claims that she can hear people screaming under the mountain. I can't imagine it's a pleasant sound. I don't enjoy screaming myself, such a harsh, sharp noise. One of the many reasons I prefer people don't see my face. In any case, they are interrupted by an old woman and innkeeper by the name of Hama, who tells them the rather eerie fact that in this town, people who are out in the woods during the full moon have been going missing, never to be seen again. And I know you've already figured it out by now, haven't you? You know it's Hama, the sweet old lady who wouldn't hurt a fly. You've heard these kinds of stories before, but I will tell you now, that's not the horror of this story. Though Sokka, the young, reckless, arrogant brother of Katara, is as suspicious as you and I are, but of course, Katara herself believes that to be foolish. Sokka decides to take a look around, and they find an old chest in an upstairs room. Hama discovers them snooping through her things, but is more than happy to show them what's inside, is nothing more than an old comb from her time as a member of the Southern Water Tribe. A time she must look back on very fondly, seeing as how she holds such a small, insignificant item is so precious. In the dinner scene that follows, Hama also reveals that she's a waterbender, just like Katara, and that along with every other waterbender from the Southern Tribe, was taken into the custody of the Fire Nation, stolen from her home. She was the only one who escaped, and she offers Katara the chance to learn from her. All Hama wants is to pass down the techniques and knowledge that she has in order to keep it alive when she's gone. And Katara, ever trusting Katara, eagerly accepts, at the moment blissfully unaware of the horrors she's about to learn. Now, before we continue, I want to ask you a question. You don't have to answer, I just want you to think about it. Do you have control over your body? Just think about it. Interpret it any way you wish. I want you to have it on your mind as we move forward. Are you ready? Have you thought about it for long enough? Good. While Aang, Sokka, and Toph continue to look into the greater mystery of the town, the people going missing during the full moon, Hama teaches Katara a very important part of waterbending, the understanding that water is everywhere, even in the air that surrounds us or in the flowers growing from the ground, even if using that water means killing those flowers. But as the day wears on and night falls, as the full moon shines bright in the sky, the point at which a waterbender is most powerful, Hama reveals to Katara her greatest technique. When she was in that Fire Nation prison alone and helpless, she realized that the rats skittering across her cage floor were nothing more than sacks filled with water. Hama calls it bloodbending, a technique by which a waterbender can exert their own will on another person's body, force them to go where they don't want to go, force them to do what they don't want to do. Through bloodbending, someone like Hama can rip away that precious human idea of autonomy. Your body is no longer yours to control, it's hers to manipulate. Katara finds this idea upsetting, naturally, and she catches up with the rest of us in determining that Hama is the one responsible for the disappearances, that the Fire Nation took away her sense of autonomy. They threw her and her people into prisons to rot, and they deserve the same. And she needs Katara to learn bloodbending, to carry on her work. And when Katara refuses, Hama makes her an example. Bloodbending isn't a precise art, as it were. It's not smooth. It doesn't look like someone is doing what they want to be doing. It's jagged and broken. It looks like a puppet being controlled by strings. It looks as though the body is actively fighting against itself. And yet, it is helpless, as the bloodbender forces it to submit. Must feel so violating. To feel so out of control of one's own body, to know that another being is overriding your mind's wishes, to know that in the face of pure physical force you are powerless to do anything but beg for them to stop. I can think of a few things humans do to one another that seem similar. However, Katara does have some power here. She draws from the full moon as well, so it's to be expected that she can and does break free of Hama's grasp. And in fact, it appears that Katara is stronger than Hama and that she will win this battle, but it's only when Aang and Sokka, who have themselves learned of Hama's deceit, appear to help Katara that things become more complicated. Hama uses their bodies to her advantage, exerting her control over them to attack Katara, and Katara does what she can to fight back without hurting her friends, and she still seems to be winning, only for Hama to pull one last trick from her sleeve, forcing Sokka with his sword outstretched towards Aang, defenseless. But they never make contact. Instead, Hama's body is forced to the ground. Given no other option, Katara is bending Hama's blood. And soon after, the townspeople, led by Toph, arrive to arrest Hama. She tells them that her work is done, before mockingly congratulating Katara. She's a bloodbender now. I don't know about you, but I find that to be the real horror here. The way that outside forces can force you to do things that you would never otherwise do. The way that so much of who you are and what you do is controlled by an environment you can't possibly hope to fully understand. Hama herself is a tragic figure, isn't she? Born into a world of cruelty and war and oppression, who fought back in the most horrific way imaginable, when given no other option. Not only the way you think, but what you do with what you think, the way you move your body to act, is a product of influences and external factors that you have no say in, no control over. That really, in your own way, you are nothing more than the monster that another monster created. Even if Katara never uses bloodbending again, and trust me, she does, she will always be a bloodbender. It's all frightfully depressing, I know. But I think there's something more here, if you want some small measure of hope in this. Because at the end, truly disturbed by that fact, Katara falls to her knees in tears, and Aang and Sokka fall with her, not controlling her, not exerting their will on her, not even saying a single word, just being there in the moment. I think you humans have some power there, don't you? It's the result of others' actions, which in themselves are a result of others' actions, but it is a choice. It's small, but it's a choice. I think that's the beauty of horror, isn't it? Of all these scary stories you like to tell each other around campfires this time of year. In the face of horrors beyond your imagination, or even those horrors so uncomfortably close to your reality, you find comfort in what little you have. Those people who will sit with you silently while you cry, unashamed of your hurt, unashamed of your fear, accepting you in such a sorry state. It's small, yes, but it's something. I hope you enjoyed your time with me. I enjoyed it. In any case, I do love telling a good story. I don't think we'll see each other again for a while. Maybe I'll be back next year if you look for me. Same place, same time. But before I go, just let me give you one piece of advice. That sound you've been hearing while trying to sleep at night, for your own sake, don't get up and investigate it. That'll just make it angry. Happy Halloween.